Hi, I'm Mark Lewis.
And I'm Stasha Lewis.
We're two physicians practicing in Salt Lake City, Utah. I am a medical oncologist.
And I'm a general pediatrician practicing in the urgent care setting.
And in both of our clinical settings, we are going to encounter patients likely affected by the coronavirus.
So after seeing some of my friends in healthcare who work in other parts of the country who are running out of personal protective equipment or PPE, I wanted to do something to try to help them. And so I started brainstorming ideas on how I could recreate a procedure mask out of household materials that would be similar in fit to our procedure masks and include a pocket to either place a filter material or to even fit a procedure mask itself to perhaps prolong its life. If you work in healthcare, you know that fit is important when it comes to masks, and there are lots of patterns already out there on the internet of good quality masks. But particularly, I thought of when we get fitted at work for an N95 mask, and we want to ensure that there's no air entry through gaps between the mask and the face itself. So I wanted to find a design where the mask could conform around the nose and upper cheeks, as well as not allow a lot of gaping along the sides of the cheeks and fit under the chin, hence my design. As the pandemic has progressed, the CDC has recommended that healthcare workers even resort to using bandanas or scarves if they don't have appropriate personal protective equipment. And they describe this as being at crisis capacity, meaning that this is not normally the standard that we use in the United States to protect ourselves with universal precautions in healthcare, and it's not ideal, but this may be better than no protection at all. And obviously, these don't offer the same filtration against viral particles as a procedure mask or an N95 mask, but there have been studies that have shown that this is better than nothing, and we will cite those at the end of this video. And you will also find in the study that we cite, they found cotton blend fabrics to be better when you're making a homemade mask compared to other fabrics.
So two things just to add. There's a lot of talk these days about N95. What does that actually mean? That means a material that will exclude 95% of droplets down to the size of 0.3 microns. And again, we know that what we're suggesting here is not that. Thankfully, just today in the New York Times, there's an article called "A Sprint to Deliver Critical Supplies to an Overwhelmed Medical Industry," where companies like Hanes and 3M and Honeywell are churning out the N95 mask at a much faster rate. So hopefully, very soon, this video will be a moot point. We want our colleagues to have the best protection possible. But in the meantime, we know in certain places in the country, supply is already being outmatched by demand. Okay, so now we're going to walk you step by step through mask construction.
So these are the basic materials that you will need. So I have a cotton blend fabric here that I've cut in two pieces. One of these pieces you can see is 9 inches wide and 8 inches tall, and this is going to be the outer layer. And then the inner layer is 9 inches wide and 7 inches tall. You also need a pipe cleaner cut down to approximately 6 inches, and then an 8-inch strip of this product called Heat and Bond. I use the soft stretch variety, but it comes in other forms that will probably work just as well. And this is just a heat sensitive, kind of a permanent bonding agent. And then you'll also need 2 pieces of elastic to create the ear loops. And there's a variety of products out there. I first used 1/4 inch braided or knit elastic, and we have cut those in our experimenting with this in terms of size. We found that 10 inches is probably good for a small mask, 11 for a medium, and 12 for a larger size head. In doing this and talking to people that sew and actually know way more than I do about sewing, because to be honest, I know way more about sewing lacerations than I do fabric. But there's apparently corded elastic out there, and then this is elastic cord, which you can find in more of the crafting section or jewelry making section of your local craft store or fabric store. For the next step, we are going to take our outer layer of fabric of the mask, and we're working on the inside surface of it. And so you're going to lay down your 8-inch strip of the Heat and Bond product, and you follow the instructions on the packaging, but it just tells you to use an iron without steam and to apply heat to the strip for about 5 seconds. And that causes it to bond to the fabric, but still allow you to peel off the outside paper. And you do need to allow it to cool down a few seconds before you move on to the next step. And so this is what it looks like once you have peeled off this outer layer. You'll have this clear, it almost looks like Scotch tape that's on here. And so then you're gonna place your pipe cleaner at the top, approximately in the middle, and then you're going to roll the fabric around it and fold it over onto this adhesive strip. And then you're going to apply the iron with steam for about 20 seconds along the length of the mask, and that will allow it to permanently bond to the fabric. So the next step requires someone with actual knowledge of a sewing machine, which I do not have, so I employed my mother's skills to do this. So we've basically put the outer sides of the mask facing each other, and then we sewed one seam along the top of the inner layer of the mask, or hem rather. And then you will sew a seam along one side. So in the next step, you can see that we have now sewed a seam on the other side of the mask and along the bottom of the mask. And I wanted to show you here is that we left intentionally an opening in this bottom layer. We didn't make the seam go all the way to the edge on either side because this is going to be where we create the channel for the elastic in the next step. So once you've sewn all of these 3 edges to this point, then you're going to fold it kind of right side out, and you'll have a product that looks like this. Okay, so in this next step, I just want to orient you to the mask. So this is the top, or the conformable piece to the nose. Now you can see the pocket, and this is the bottom of the mask. So we have used the sewing machine to sew another seam on each side, and now you have creation of this channel which can feed the elastic for the ear bands. So in order to get this to slide through, you just attach a safety pin to the end of the elastic, and that helps you give you something rigid to force it all the way through. And then depending on what length you want these, you can either sew the elastic end to end, overlap it anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 inch, and then so you don't have that seam showing, you just work to kind of feed it around as so. Okay, so you can see in the finished product here that you do have this pocket, and I actually fitted a procedure mask in here so that you could wear this inside to prolong the life of the procedure mask, and then just this would be washable. So this is the finished product that I have on, and you can see where having this pipe cleaner with the metal in the top allows you to conform it to your face, and then on the side the cinching of the fabric here keeps it a little closer to the face, and we made it large enough so that you have good coverage under your chin as well.
So we hope that this has been helpful. Again, we also hope that this won't be necessary for very much longer at all. There's a lot of potential tweaks to this design. We know we're not experts in textiles, we're not infectious disease doctors, we're just physicians increasingly on the front lines and worried about our colleagues. There's going to be a shortage of personal protective equipment. I think the real beauty of this design is probably in prolonging the lifespan of existing masks, like a surgical mask or ideally an N95. You'll also see a lot of discussion these days about what is the best filter to be inserted. People are talking about vacuum bag fabric. You've even heard maxi pads discussed. People are getting quite ingenious. I think necessity is the mother of invention. Again, we're just recording this at a time where we anticipate more actual PPE being produced. We're just trying to fill in the gaps, and we wish everyone out there in healthcare the best of luck and the best of health.
And I just wanted to make one point. The CDC is recommending that if you are using a bandana, scarf, or a homemade cloth mask, that ideally you would have a full plastic face shield as well. But unfortunately, those are running low as well. And I never thought I would be trying to come up with a face mask at my dining room table in this day and age in this country to protect healthcare workers, but sadly, that is where we are at this point. So if you have purchased masks for personal use and you can donate those to your local healthcare facility, we definitely need them. And please, urge manufacturers out there to make us the real thing so that we can stay healthy to keep taking care of patients and so that we don't become infected and inadvertently spread it, but as we continue to care for people. So we hope you all stay healthy and well.